There is a man in your life you have done everything for. You covered for him. You lent him money. You showed up when nobody else did. And somewhere along the way you noticed that he does not seem to like you any more than he did at the start. Possibly less. You have been told that generosity builds loyalty. In one specific and very common way, it does the opposite. And there is a mechanism behind it. Philadelphia, 1736. Benjamin Franklin is a clerk in the Pennsylvania Assembly, and one of the other legislators has decided to destroy him. A wealthy man, well-spoken, well-connected, and openly hostile in a way that could end Franklin's position. The obvious move is to win him over. Do him favors, be useful, flatter him. Franklin does the opposite. He hears that this man owns a rare and expensive book, so he writes to him, not offering anything, not apologizing, not making peace. He asks to borrow it. The man sends the book. Franklin keeps it for a week, returns it, and sends a note thanking him warmly. And the next time they meet in the assembly, the man speaks to him, which he had never done before. He is civil, then friendly. And according to Franklin's own account, the two of them remained friends for the rest of that man's life. Franklin drew a rule out of it, and it is the reason we are talking about this 300 years later. He said that a man who has already done you one kindness will be readier to do you another than one whom you yourself have obliged. Now, a caveat, because it matters. That story comes from Franklin's autobiography, written decades later by a man who was very deliberately building his own legend. It is one anecdote, it is not evidence. The evidence came much later. In 1969, two researchers ran an experiment that pointed the same way. People who had been asked to return a favor ended up rating the person who asked more highly. That study is old. The field it belongs to has had a hard decade of replication problems, and you should hold the finding loosely. But the underlying mechanism is one of the best supported ideas in psychology, and that mechanism is worth understanding on its own. Here is why it works. Your mind does not enjoy holding two facts that contradict each other. I dislike this man, and I just spent an hour helping him do not fit together. One of them has to move. The hour is already spent. You cannot unhelp him, so the other one moves instead. I suppose I don't dislike him that much. You did not decide that. You watched yourself act, and then updated what you believe about yourself to match. Now run it in the other direction, which is the part that hurts. The friend you keep bailing out has no such problem. He has not invested anything in you. He has nothing to justify. His mind is under no pressure to raise its opinion of you, and quite a lot of pressure to lower it. Because a person who is constantly receiving from you eventually has to explain to himself why he deserves it. And he does it because he's got nothing better going on is an easier explanation than he does it because he's a better man than me. This is why the most generous person in a group is so often the least respected one. Not because generosity is bad, because one-way generosity gives the other person nothing to invest, and people value what they have invested in. So how do you actually use this? First, ask small. The favor has to be easy enough that saying yes costs almost nothing, and specific enough that it cannot be misread. A book, a recommendation, 10 minutes of their time on one question. Ask too big and you don't trigger the effect, you trigger resentment. The size of the favor is not what does the work. The act of giving is. Second, ask for their expertise, not their resources. How would you handle this? Works better than can you lend me this? People are pleased to be treated as someone worth consulting, and an opinion costs them nothing but still counts as something given. This is also the version that stays honest. You actually want to know what they think. Third, thank them properly, then stop. A clear, specific thank you, then nothing. Do not immediately return the favor. This is counterintuitive, and it is the step most people ruin. If you square the debt straight away, you have canceled the investment. The whole point is that they have something of theirs sitting with you. Fourth, stop overgiving. If you are the person who always pays, always drives, always covers, you are not building loyalty. You are building an imbalance that the other person has to justify, and people justify imbalances by deciding the giver wanted it that way. Let them get the next one. Not as a tactic, as a correction. Fifth, notice when it is being run on you. Someone who asks you for small, easy, flattering favors early in a relationship may be doing exactly this. That is not automatically sinister. It is also just how normal friendships start. The test is what happens over months. Real relationships even out. If the asking only ever runs one direction, you are not in a friendship. You are in a system, the law. People do not invest in what they value what they have invested in. The field test, 1 week. 3 people, nothing important. Ask each of them for one small, specific thing you actually want. A recommendation, an opinion on something they know about, a 5-minute favor. Then thank them clearly and let it sit. Do not repay it. Watch 2 things. 1. How willing people are. Most will say yes, and a good number will offer more than you asked for. 2. How they behave with you afterward. The next conversation, the next message. Warmer than before, more often than not. Do it 3 times and you will stop believing that the way to be liked is to be useful. The warning. And this one is sharper than the others. Everything above can be run as a con. Ask for small favors you do not want, from people you do not care about, to manufacture a feeling they did not choose. It works often enough to be tempting, and it produces exactly nothing. A relationship built entirely on manufactured investment is a relationship with no one actually inside it. You will have people who feel warmly toward you and no one who knows you. The honest version is not a technique at all. It is this. Let people do things for you. Most people are worse at receiving than giving, and they call that humility when it is closer to control, because the person who never needs anything never has to be known by anyone. The advice was never use people. It was stop insulating yourself from them. Ask for the book. Mean it. The full reciprocity breakdown, and the 17 other moves people run on you without saying a word, is in the Dark Playbook. First chapter is free. Link below. Next one. Why manufactured scarcity shuts down the part of your brain that does arithmetic.